Welcome to Single and Saved TV. We are so excited that you have joined us for another episode. We hope that you enjoy the show and welcome our host, Coach L. Renee Nix. Hello, hello, hello. You already know what time it is. Welcome to Single and Saved TV. I am your host, Coach L. Renee Nix. I am an educator. I am an author. I am a life coach. But more than anything, I am a believer. Here on Single and Saved TV, our mission is for us to provide real, relevant, and responsible solutions. I love to help Christian singles all over the world foster better relationships. I don't know about you, but I could have used a show like Single and Saved when I was single. I needed to understand that although I was a believer, it did not necessarily mean that I knew how to be in a relationship, and a healthy one. I did not understand how to date. I knew the tenets of our faith. I knew about fornication and avoiding that. I knew about all of those things. But at the end of the day, God afforded me an opportunity in 2018 to co-author a book called Delayed But Not Denied. That was where I talked about the absolute worst heartbreak of my lifetime. And through that healing journey, God began to show me, hey, listen, there's more to love and relationships than just falling in love, just having a mate that you go to church with. There's so many other layers to love and relationships. And I want to begin to talk about that on this particular show, where we begin to actually have real, relevant conversations and topics so that you can understand, hey, where do I fit on the dating wheel? What is it that I can be doing better? And what's holding me back from my forever love? All right, so if you joined me, thank you so much for last week for joining. If you've never watched us before, you are in for a treat, because tonight we have part 2 to the Love Chronicles. We started the season talking about virtual dating and talking about this whole social experiment. And I am so excited for the feedback that I got. The next time we do the Love Chronicles, if you are interested in joining us, all you got to do is hit up your girl, El Renee, and we can put you in this rotation. But I wanted to do this social experiment because I am so interested in understanding what it is that we approach people with, our perspective, what's in our mindset as we're trying to meet one another and to figure out if this is a good fit or not a good fit. And so I have none other than the best brother, little young brother that I can find out here. We call him the Radio Man, and he is my special guest again. So give a Single and Saved TV welcome back our bachelor in the Love Chronicles, none other than Mr. Marcel McManus. All right, let me bring him into the room. All right, there he is, ladies. Hello. The Radio Man is back. What's going on? Talk to us, brother.
I'm back. I had to get myself together, get ready for tonight, everything. I got it together, looking all good tonight and excited. Thank you for having me once again, and glad to be back.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something on a side note. You were a hit, brother. You were a hit. The ladies were loving it. They were so super excited. And I don't mean it in a negative way, but the feedback that I got from the show was that people were just like, wow, he's a nice guy. And I felt like people, especially the women that responded, I felt like they were encouraged that, listen, there are some good brothers still out there. There are still some nice, saved, stable men who are out there in dating world, right? Yeah, I absolutely love it. So we've been talking about, last week we talked about whether or not people are ready for love. I am so big as a life coach on dating readiness, because again, a lot of us, if you've been in church all your life like we have, a lot of times we were not prepared for dating, right? Mm-hmm. There was all of this emphasis on don't burn, right? So go ahead and get married. But now, as we know better, we have to begin to do better. And so, as we talked about last week, I want to challenge people about your dating readiness. And what I mean by that is I go by 3 things. And I just want to go over this because this is going to lead us into what we're going to talk about tonight. And we're so excited to hear the feedback from your first initial conversations and dating with one of our bachelorettes. Yes, sir. He has already started the dating process.
Yes,
So we're so excited to hear about that. Now, tonight, listen, I'm going to try very hard not to do all the talking, right? It's hard. I get excited. This is my passion. But I definitely want to talk a little bit about time, space, and consistency. And this is something that even as you're moving forward and continuing to communicate with our bachelorette, Miss T, as we'll call her, it's super, super important that you give this portion, not, hey, I think this is it. Hey, I want to go on a date. But this portion of just getting to know someone is so important. That's the number one part of this dating readiness is the time that you give it, the time that you dedicate to really, truly getting to know a person, the time that you actually put into getting to know yourself and noticing, because I haven't been divorced very, very long, right?
that's
And
correct.
so it's super, super important for you to take your time. There's no rush into this thing. And so the first thing I say about dating readiness is to make sure that you're giving it the adequate time enough to really give yourself a chance to get to know one another. The other one is space. It is super, super important that you begin to pay attention to what happens when you all have taken time apart and come back together. Is it awkward? Is there an assumption, like I talked about on the very first show, about how people get attitudes because there's an assumption about, oh, you should have called me by now, you should have done this by now. You want to pay attention to what happens
Exactly.
in between those different spaces, right? And the main thing that I want you to really focus on as you're enjoying this experiment, this is a social experiment. We're not matchmaking per se, but I do want us to learn a little bit more about fostering these relationships, is consistency. Not only consistency from her, but I want you to begin to really notice the consistency in you. How often are you thinking? Is your mind daydreaming about, hey, what is this going to be like? When you do talk and communicate with one another, what are your thoughts like? What is the consistency on your end as well as hers? All right. So I just wanted to go over that because that's what I want to make sure that all of you all that are saying, hey, listen, El Renee, I think I am ready for love, or I am dating someone right now. I want you to make sure that you focus on those three things: time, space, and consistency. That will always show you what you need to know about a potential mate. Okay. All right. So now that we've gone there, let's talk about the feedback. Oh my God. Did you get any feedback? I'd love to hear. I got to share with you what people said after the show, but I want to hear, what were your initial thoughts about this whole thing after you were able to see it again for the first time?
People were excited to see me on there, and I had somebody put in there, "You look very shy" or something like that, or nervous, something to that name, which I was my first time ever doing anything like this. So of course you would expect to be that way the first time.
Right.
Enjoyed it. Never heard anything like it with a Christian dating a show like this with virtual
Right.
dating. Of course, there's others out there, but they was really enjoying it. They liked it and wanted to follow it. I have people trying to go back and watch it after the fact, but it was live during that period of time. So, but the feedback was very great. They enjoyed it and they're looking forward to it. It's going to be every week, and it was just one time. And so, very, very great feedback. I enjoyed it myself. I was just getting from rehearsal right in my car, and I had to pull up my iPad and watch it at the same time. So I took a selfie before I checked in with me in the car watching it. So very great positive feedback. And I got to loosen up a little bit so I can give them a little bit more energy. So I'm come with it tonight.
Listen, I think because you came with it with the sexy and single save thing, and then you went into your shell. That was the feedback that I We like to have a good time here on Single and Safe. We are not stuck up Christians over here, all right? We love to have a good time and love to be real, but relevant, right? Yes. That was something that I definitely heard, was that they were like, everyone was like, you were such a nice looking young man. You sounded very articulate. That's a major thing. Let me tell y'all something, especially y'all brothers out there. Let me tell you something. You don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar, right? But you do need to know how to be able to communicate in a way that engages a female. A lot of times, if you're someone who's super, super shy, right? There's nothing wrong with practicing, a little conversation. And that's the thing. I think sometimes texting kind of takes us away from the art of conversation. But I'm so, so glad that you were representing not only the kingdom of God, number one, but you represented brothers in such a positive light. And that's something we need to see a lot more in TV land these days, that we see men of color who are strong, who are supportive fathers, at the same time are out there living their life and doing what they need to do. All they're looking for is someone to share their life with, right?
That's
All
right.
right. The other thing that I got is they were like, oh my God, every day you just doing all the talking. Now listen, let me tell you something. I thought about this thing, right? The old Renee, right, would have been like, oh my God, I don't want to come off that way. I'm so sorry. And of course I do want you to feel free to jump in. If I'm talking too much, tell me. But I had to remember this. Now, when you on Oprah's show, who does most of the talking? Oprah. All right, bless you. This is my show. I can talk as much as I want.
It's your show. You your thing.
When you're on the El Renee show with Single and Saved, hey baby, this is my show. So I'm gonna do what God has told me to say. But at the same time, I'm open to all kinds of feedback. And I did realize that, and I said, well, I do understand that this was very new for you. This was new for me as well. As far as putting this out here for the world. I've been doing things like this for a very long time, but this was definitely something that was out of the box for both of us. So I'm so excited to hear about that feedback. Now, let's get into some of the dish, because you've had a couple of conversations, right? With Miss T is what we're calling her. And even before you reached out to her, did you have any initial thoughts? Did you have any, what were you thinking? What was the vibe like before? Because I know it's not always easy, right? It's still putting yourself in a vulnerable state. So tell us a little bit about your initial conversations.
At first I'm like, okay, who am I getting ready to text? All I know is just a little T. Not even know if it's a real initial of what. I have no idea anything about this person. I have no idea how they look. And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? What's going to be the first thing I'm going to say? So when I got the number that night, you sent it to me, so I text her like, hey, how are you doing? Hey, this is, the nicknames that I have. Mm-hmm. And over, hey, how are you? How you doing today? And so it started going, and she responded back. I said, okay, I was excited. And the conversation just started flowing, just basic conversation. And I had to realize you're going to have to take charge of this communication thing. You're going to have to do that. So I'm like, wait a minute. I know, do I really know how to do this? But it got a little bit easier as time went along, and we just built and began to talk. So I'm very interested in the first conversation. And then as today was our second conversation. So it's been going pretty good. I'm very interested to see more is going to go on. And then here to see how you're going to coach me through this. It's different if you're just on a dating site by yourself and you just taking a stab and just going with it and just trying to figure out. But this whole experiment has allowed me to see that there are some good ways, or I don't want to say techniques, but some good advice or wisdom that can be shared when communicating and learning how to effectively communicate and not giving too much, not saying too much, but just enjoying the flow of just having a basic conversation. So I say great, going good so far. Day two.
Absolutely amazing. I'm so happy to hear you say that. I'm so happy to have an example of what I know God has showed me about love and relationships, specifically amongst believers, right? Because again, the myth, and that's all I'm trying to do, is to dispel these myths that we've grown up listening to other people. And again, the older generation, they did the best that they could do. They taught us what was taught to them.
That's true.
But the word of God says that as we begin to know better, we got to do better. Much known, much more is required. And so Single and Saving TV is just born out of this desire to hear what you just shared about, listen, I've been out there. I know how I thought I knew how to date, or I thought I knew how to communicate, but there's always room for more. There's always room for better communication. And I do think that that's one of the main things that couples, after they have experienced longevity in a relationship, if it fails, one of the first things they talk about is the reason why it failed is because of communication. There was a lack of it. The way we communicated, right? A lot of times people think, well, I'm not yelling and I'm not screaming, but it's what you say. It's how you say it, right? All of these kinds of things. So I'm so glad that you said that. And I'm so excited to give you some more feedback. And I'm super excited about this whole process with you all. And again, I have to say thank you for being bold enough to do this. Not only to do it, but to do it publicly in front of the world. So
Say that again publicly. Oh my.
Yes.
I have really been reflecting so much about everything I went through and then sharing some of my story on my own platform and not knowing that me posting about my relationship talk for the month of March, I get an inbox about being on the TV show. I was like, wait a minute, God, I know you told me to come out and talk, but I ain't know you said you could really take me to the world of sharing. But I told God I was willing to be honest, transparent, and true. I didn't know he was going to really open it to this magnitude. So, hey, anything for you, I'm all in. Hey,
Oh, thank you so much, brother. And the thing is, there is something about God uses people who are willing to be vulnerable.
yes.
Let me say that. He will use you when you are willing to be vulnerable. And what my point is that how many of us who have grown up in church, right, have stumbled through love and relationships and fallen again and again and again. And because a lot of it was because we just simply did not know. There was not enough intention. There was not enough thought put into this whole area. But it's something that most of us desire. So it made me think like, why don't we talk about this more often? Why isn't this a bigger platform? Why don't we have something that caters to not only love and relationships, but specifically from a Christian background, a faith-based perspective, because that is going to impact the way I date. It is. You know, it's going to impact all of that. So I'm so glad to hear that the initial conversations are going well, and we can't wait to check back in with you about that. And again, welcome to each of you all to Single and Saved TV. I am Coach L. Renee Nix, and this is my bachelor, the radio man, Mr. Marcel McManus. And we have been talking all things love tonight about his initial experiences on the Love Chronicle as he started to do these initial conversations. And so I wanted to talk about this and what your thoughts are on this. How important are first impressions? Because something you said about the fact that when the things that you were thinking up and building up in your head about how you thought the first conversation was going to go. So how does that first impression impact you?
It's very good. Good first impression. Just with basic conversation, nothing that felt uncomfortable. I didn't feel comfortable with something that's gonna be, like, so what you looking for, or anything to the nature that felt like weird. It felt very good. I think first impressions are very important by just being yourself,
Absolutely.
not overdoing it, just enjoying the moment and with the flow. Impressions, it means a whole lot. You have, as they say, you got one time to kind of, win people over or to get it right, whatever. But that's just being who you are, being just the generic you, the genuine you. I mean, the genuine you. Even with me coming on for the first time on the show, that was, my initial. Hey, I'm shy at the moment. Yeah, I can talk, but hey, this is what's going on at this moment. But I'm back the second time. Energetic. I made some little adjustments, a little bit, but the impression is everything. Not to overdo it, but just really be genuinely who you are. And so with her doing that, I enjoyed it, to be honest with you. So
that is awesome. That's awesome. You know what? Something else that I was thinking about that I want to piggyback on is the fact that, there's so many Christian people, singles, that are saying, you're praying, you're going to the conferences, you're staying busy, we're traveling, we're doing all of these things, right? But one of the things that God had to challenge me with was, okay, your expectations are that somebody is going to walk into your church, right? I built up this fantasy in my head that the way I was going to meet my husband, or the way, I've heard men say the same thing, that, I went to church looking for, what I mean, the love of my life, and found out that she was actually Satan's daughter. So my point being this, right? I think it's so important for us to begin to open up our minds when we come to love. Let's stop boxing ourselves into, oh no, that ain't God. We say that, he that findeth a wife, right? But what I want to say is this: I'm so proud of you for then you're not even looking for a wife, I don't think, right now. But I'm so glad that you're changing the ways of your thinking about being open to new ways of meeting people. Do you understand? You're a busy man, and I'm sure you run across women all the time, but that doesn't always mean that those are always the best places to actually meet
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
quality person, you know? And the same thing with us in church, in females. You know, we're in church. Well, 90% of the women, 90% of the people in church are female anyway,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
And the men that are there, either they're already spoken for or don't nobody want them anyway. It's probably a reason why they don't want them.
It's more locations than just the church. I mean, just different ways that you can meet somebody at a restaurant.
Absolutely.
A platform like this, I really think I'm gonna make this plug. This platform is gonna help a lot of people and reach so many people that are looking for love or trying to find ways to better themselves. I really think it was gonna be that. It's been that for me even before we got to this point, just building up. And I was telling my good friend, I said, you know what, I need this to help me to way and to look back where I come from and to see where I'm going and to make sure that I'm going in a direction that I will be effective when I'm sincerely pursuing someone, that I'm coming with it. Not no, I ain't sure about this. No, I'm coming to pursue. When a man know what he want, he's gonna go for it with confidence, not cocky.
Come on.
And that's what this platform is all about, making sure you're going with confidence and making sure the lady is ready to receive what you've been looking for. Okay, when it comes, you know, you got to be ready for it. So I love this platform already. So this is
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. And again, this is my baby. This is my heart. You know, this is something that I can talk about all day long because I've always been a hopeless romantic. And I love to see people in love. And I love to see people successful in love. But what I'm saying is that I want to serve such an underserved population within the body of Christ. There's actually, I think, more single people in church than there are married. And that's another whole thing, but it's not that people, you know, I just want to dispel the myth that there's no available men out there. There's no good women out there. You know, everybody in church is playing a game and everybody in church is either super spiritual and super duper serious, or, you know, they're just out there and they ain't saved and they don't know Jesus. And no, there's a middle, saints. Hear me, y'all. There is a middle. We are the middle.
We're the middle.
Where we can have a good time. We know the tenets of our faith. We know what God is requiring of us, you know, our reasonable service. We do know those things. But guess what? The word says the spirit don't tarry always. Huh? So if it don't tarry always, I mean, you ain't gonna be speaking in tongues on your days.
No,
you know, y'all ain't gonna be quoting Bible sonnets and scriptures, and you know, the man is gonna want to know something other than, you know, I'm the president of Sunshine Band. Well, what else you got? And the same thing with the men. What else do you have to offer? Right? Yep. Even God has more to offer than just one thing. He offers salvation, but he's a bunch of different things that he offers.
Balance. If you don't have no balance, it makes it bored and not interesting. I had to learn that from previous relationships and marriage. Like, you know what, brother, I needed this before I got married. If I'd have known all this, I probably wouldn't have got married. Or because certain things you need to understand, you got to have a balance. Everything is not always work. Everything is not always church. Absolutely. You got to have a balance to the point that the person that you're looking to be with or married, that they want to enjoy you. They looking forward to coming home versus like, I don't feel like going home. They're going to talk about that all the time. They're going to do this all the time. No. I'm excited to see you. Like, girl, come on, let me just grab you, hold you, baby. You know, the kids in the bed sleep, baby. You know,
hey,
you making it feel like
minister to me. Come on and minister.
And put this nice fancy shower and all this stuff in there. Got the bench in there. Okay, you had a long day. I'm gonna take care of you tonight, baby. You know.
Come on here, y'all.
You know.
See, come on, ladies. Come on. Get your things. Look. Look at. I got the microphone tonight, brother. I got the mic. Do y'all hear that, ladies?
Hey, soon as she come in, roses all laid out with
Come on.
Hey, the baby's at grandma's house. Hey, you know.
Come on here. Minister to me. And I mean, we're being funny, but we're being realistic as well. Yeah. Because that is something that I'm really, honestly, I've done research on this. And that's why a lot of times couples that are both very heavily involved in ministry, if they do get divorced, one of the main things that they talk about and the reason why they're getting divorced is because there was no work-life balance, right? Yep. Especially if when you guys started out, neither of you were as involved in church or you weren't in ministry at all. And then that transition, you know what I'm saying? That transition is something that needs to be discussed. And a lot of times, let's go there, you know, if you marry or you get with someone who is a minister at one point, and so you kind of get used to just that level of what ministers have to, how they have to serve. And then he comes home and says, hey, God told me to, become a pastor, and I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do this full time. Well, here's the thing, though. A lot of women, and I know a lot of older women, they felt like they were obligated, like they had to just kind of follow along with, whatever he said, because we don't want to look like we are, objecting against God, or we don't look like we want to, be, against what God's will is. But here's what we're learning differently in the 21st century. In the 21st century, we have heard it enough, but I believe God now is saying it is time for us to practice it. It should be family first.
First.
God, yes. God is in everything that we do. Yes. But to put the church and to say we're doing it in the name of God is out of order as well.
Totally.
It's out of order. It's out of order. And if you are dating someone who doesn't themselves know that, right? Again, this is why the communication is so important. You owe it to your partner to discuss. Now, you don't have to agree, but you at least need to discuss and understand where they're coming into play with it and how it is going to impact the family. Now, you can quote me and at me if you want to about, well, what about Noah? Noah, when he was building the ark, well, ma'am and sirs, hear me when I say this. We're not back in the Noah days.
No, we're not.
All right? We're not like that. And even if we were, I'm not saying that God doesn't always sometimes tell us or doesn't always demand that we do some things that seem unorthodox. I'm not saying that at all. Matter of fact, when I started Single and Saving the Kingdom as a ministry, I started out on Facebook Live. People thought I was nuts when I said I was going to get on Facebook and start talking about my experiences with love and relationships and dating. They were like, you going to talk about that? I was like, yeah, I'm going to tell you. I've dated them all. 8 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy. I had dated them all. You made me act up so bad, Marcel. I was so put together last week. But here we go. This is the life of El Renee.
Yes, and I'm glad that you did it. When you come out to share and begin to share your experiences and things like that, you got to be bold to step out. Like I said before, if you don't have that balance to understand that, you can lose a person with all the extra stuff to understand. That family thing is very, very important. I've learned that before, and I know we probably share a little bit more down the road about that. But if you don't have that balance, man, you're going to have a whole mess on your hands.
I'm telling you. And it becomes unfair. And sometimes you can make people you can make your potential spouse, or you can make your spouse or your significant other, you can make them resent God.
Yes, I totally.
Not that God did anything wrong, but you, the person, did not get understanding and wisdom about how to incorporate God in every aspect of your life. Now, let me say that again. It's not God. Don't get mad at God. God didn't do it. It's usually the person. It could be their ego. Let's go there. It could be their ego. It could be their lack of knowledge. It could be a lot of strongholds, a lot of, generational strongholds where this ideology about how to serve God and what that looks like, especially now, it could still be built up into some of those old things that work for them, but may not necessarily work for us now in the 21st century. So it's super, super important for us to begin to do that. And now, again, we're already off topic, but this is really good. I'm really glad we're having this conversation, and I pray that God begins to release us with the strongholds in our minds about love and relationships and how we serve God. Because first of all, what I'm learning as a newlywed, we're almost out of the newlywed phase now, we've been married 2 years, but what I'm learning, to be honest with you, is that my husband is my first ministry. Now, when I was single, God was my bride. I was his bride. So I had time to develop into all of that. But here's where we get it mixed up, ladies. I'm going to talk about church ladies tonight for a little bit. Where we get it mixed up is when you become a wife to someone who's not your husband too soon.
Ooh, I like that.
You become a wife. You become an illegal spiritual wife. And now you're acting out of order in an illegal realm because you have not got this whole relationship sanctioned by God. All right? That's number one. That's preacher girl coming out of me now. But the other part of that is that when God does give you, now listen to what we do. This is not, the enemy is so cunning with this, right? Now, you were willing to be a fake first lady in your head when y'all weren't married.
I love it.
Now that God is giving you someone, now you so busy in the church, you don't have time to minister no more.
That's right.
Oh, I got a platform now. Oh, I got to go preach now. Y'all can at me. I'm fine. I'm all right with it, but I'm telling the truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the
because
truth.
These are the things that they want. That let's go there. No pastor, for the most part, is going to get up on a Sunday morning and preach about this. We're not going to talk about this on Sunday morning. No. You're not going to get this in Bible study. That's why you got to come to Single and Saved TV, because we talk about the real issues, and we have time to talk about it. That's what I'm trying to say. But ministry is so important, but it is my first ministry is to my spouse.
I love it.
Because how can I serve the world and then leave the last 5 to 10% to my husband? And let's be transparent on tonight. I was not good at that when I first met him. I wasn't. Wow. I have to be very honest with myself. I would feel guilty, if I'll be honest. I would feel guilty when I was wanting to be with him because we were dating in 2 different cities. So the weekends were our time together, when we first started dating. And so I would feel guilty on the weekends that I would go up to see him, right? Or the weekends that he would come down. We talking about you driving a couple of hours on Friday night. So by the time you get there, we're really not really having a lot of time to do anything. So we really only had Saturday, to be honest. That's and right. Then on Sunday, either he's headed back or I'm headed back. So that would sometimes impact with, my church attendance. And I would feel guilty about that. Like, oh man, but here's the thing. God had to show me that's because you were single still then. But now that you're married, sometimes I just need to let him know that, babe, I'm not going to put God before you. Right now I'm saying it wrong. God comes before you when it comes to my individual relationship. But yes. When it comes to our union, no, not just going to church service. No.
All
right, let's keep going. Y'all know I get excited about this stuff here. So the reason why I asked you about the first impressions, because it's something you said earlier about how important that is for you to just be yourself. I think that we build up such a stigma in our heads. We create such a fantasy in our heads about what we want the other person to be, that it distorts you from seeing who the person really is. Hear that, right? So as you're meeting people, right, that's why I wanted this to be a virtual blind experiment. That's why I didn't want you to know what she looks like. I wanted to know what your personal preferences were, and I tried to incorporate those personal preferences in, and I will throw a little hand in there for you for that. But at the same time, I don't want you to focus so much on that image in your head that you will completely misdiagnose someone who doesn't fit that image. And they could very well be someone who could add value to your life. That's what you're looking for, even in your initial conversations, because you are a man of purpose, right? People of purpose, you don't have a lot of time to waste. So even in the initial conversation stages, you don't have time to waste. So that's why I wanted to talk about these impressions, because I want you to begin to even look at ways that you need to break up with those images in your head, right? And just go with the moment that you've been saying. And I love that too, because again, sometimes we're so focused on what's ahead or what's behind that we lose the moment, right? Enjoy having someone to talk to who has a nice voice. Enjoy someone who brings intrigue to you. Enjoy talking to someone who says, how was your day? A lot of people, that as a single person, sometimes that means a lot. Just having someone to just check on you every once in a while. How you doing today? Did you eat today? Are you all right? Tell me about your day. That's what a lot of divorced Christians tell me when I work with my private clients. That's what they say. It's not, can I go there? It's not always the sex, y'all. Okay, put the babies to bed. Hopefully they're already in bed tonight. But listen, it's not always, oh my God, I miss the sex. I miss the intimacy. A lot of it is that they miss the companionship.
Yeah, totally agree.
They miss that. So that's a good thing that you are just joining into that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I want to know if you could do an ideal date. Okay. Again, you still don't know what she looks like, right? Let's say things are going really, really well. And you're like, hey, I want to plan a date for her. I want to talk about a little of that because this is something that I know the brothers in Christ, y'all need a little help with. Yeah. You need a little help on date planning, right?
Help us out.
Okay. And the reason why I say, well, I want to hear what you have to say. I do want to hear that. But when you're done, I want to give you a little feedback on what you're thinking and where that leads versus something that will stick. Because you want it to be an opportunity that you guys, you want to take the pressure off. You don't want it to be, okay, I'm going ahead already. Go ahead. You tell me. Because y'all know I can go on and on about this. Go ahead.
An ideal date to me, I would say
first date.
First date.
An ideal first date, yes.
First date. Most typical people like to go maybe dinner and have a conversation. I don't think there's anything wrong with the dinner and conversation. I would still stick with that. Maybe talk, maybe go somewhere, talk before the dinner to kind of get a chance to talk a little bit more and have a more different setting than just the eating setting with people around. I think maybe somewhere go just to meet and talk a little bit, and then maybe dinner, something to that nature there, and then maybe walk around or something like that after the fact. Just find a way to communicate and feel the vibe of each other. To me, that's what I would personally think would be an ideal date to that degree. And I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Listen, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer. There's always just better ways of tweaking the ideas that we have. There's no right or wrong about that. And you are right. Typically, we stick to food. That's number one. Let's go there, though. Let's put a little PSA out here for the church folk, y'all. This is why I have gained weight since I got married. Okay? Now, I'm just going to say out here, is this mic on? Can y'all hear me out there? Because this is what I want to put. Because y'all will talk about, yes, I'm in the mic tonight. I got my own mic tonight. All right? Y'all will talk about the sisters after they get married. Whoo, girl, she done gained weight. You know why? Because the only thing we were taught in social activities with church folk was doing what? Going out to eat.
Out to eat.
Come on, y'all. That's what we were taught. That was the only social interaction that I got growing up. So I would look forward to church, and then after church, what do? We go out to eat. So that's the same thing we say even now when we're meeting someone new. We want to associate some type of social activity with food, right? I'm not putting down dinner, but here's the thing. You want to begin to think about ideas that will give you both a chance to learn and be vulnerable at the same time.
Wow, I like that.
You want something that will challenge you both. It's out of both of your comfort zones. Let me break the myth, ladies. Let me tell you this. Most of the time, you want a man to anticipate what it is that you want, which basically is dinner, a movie. I mean, it's basic stuff anyway. And you're mad because of the type of restaurant that he picked. I mean, come on, stop it, right? Quality people of purpose. You want to know the real person. You want to know what it's going to feel like and what it's going to look like when we are spending time together doing things that we both enjoy. Or what it feels like when we both are feeling vulnerable. What it looks like when we both are doing something that we feel like I'm not that confident about, or something that we're both interested in. These are the things that really provide more context and more things to talk about than the basic, what's your favorite color? What you like to do on the weekends? You know, what's your favorite scripture? What's your favorite church song? What's your favorite hymn? I mean, come on, stop it, right? We want.
What's your favorite hymn? Oh, Lord.
That's for my apostolic ministry. I mean, you know, what color? What color doily you wearing on your head this Sunday? I mean, come on. You know, how many ties you got? I mean, come on, stop it. God, it's not basic, and we're going to move away from all this unbasic dating because it's ridiculous. And my point is that you will eventually run out of those things. But when you create an experience for a first date that is entertaining, that avoids just idle time, and that's something that will pull out of both of you all, now you're setting up not only the next conversation, you're setting up the next experience.
Yes, I love that.
Okay, you're setting up the next experience. So you tell me, what's something that you have wanted to try but you haven't done yet, because you're pretty adventurous. So what's something that because I say that because, okay, I know that you like to fish, right?
But I'm just learning to fish.
Okay, well, that's a good one then. Okay, let's use that example then, because I thought you were a fisher. Like my husband loves to fish. Okay, but for you, since it's something that you're getting introduced into, right? That might be a great first date, right?
That's true.
Because it takes the pressure off of, what do I gotta wear? Oh, I gotta look snatched tonight. I gotta put my good girl on. And you trying to figure out, let me make sure my Beijing, I mean, he don't have Beijing, but you know what I mean. And make sure my tape line is, but when it's something comfortable, then you're creating an atmosphere and an experience of comfort. That takes anxiety and pressure off of you guys as well, because you're both gonna be in a comfortable position. Now, if she hates nature, then obviously that's not a good experience. But that's an example of what I mean about planning future dates. Not even just with Miss T or the other bachelorette, but just in general. That's a great idea of thinking of something that you are just being introduced to. But what's something that you've been wanting to do, but you've never tried before?
That I've never tried before. You know what? Ice skating.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Let me tell y'all a little story about ice skating. Let me tell you why Black people probably don't do it very often. Our ankles are too big. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you, my ankles were about to shatter on that little teeny blade. But don't stop because of me, brother. Don't do it because of me, because I'm a little accident prone. Don't go by me. But what I'm saying is that that's a great experience, because one, it's something that if you both never done, or that person is not really that good at it as well, right? It's fun to be clumsy and fun, and it gives you a little intimacy, right? Because you do get to touch a little bit, a little touchy feely, right? But not doing the, a little touchy feely. She fell. That gives you a chance to, help her get up and, tie her little shoes and show you a little chivalry, which is not dead, ladies. Chivalry is not dead. So that's a good one. But it also gives you an opportunity to do something that's active, right? That's another thing, not just sitting down eating. That's something that gets you guys, because you physically fit, and you want somebody physically fit. You don't want somebody ready for 600-pound life. I'm not hating on them if you are ready for it, but that's not what you're looking for. So the point is that gets something, it's an activity, and it gives you something to look forward to. It gives you something to talk about, and it gives you something to build on. Okay, we tried ice skating. Next time, let's try
something different.
You see what I mean? That's why I said that's super, super important. Okay. All right. Now I want to give you a few tips on how to dig deeper in the conversations. Okay. Questions that you could possibly ask that will lead to deeper answers, right? Again, there's no right or wrong answer. There's nothing wrong with the initial steps that you've already taken. But as you continue to communicate, and this is not only with these ladies, but anybody moving forward, these tips will definitely help you. You want to ask questions. You want to stay away from one-word answers, right? Do you like blah, 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 blah? No. Do you like blah, 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 blah? Yes. You want to stay away from that. Those are boring, basic questions. Now, hear me. If you're at the boring, basic level, that's okay. You got to be where you are. You can't, I don't want you to go trying to read, chemistry books trying to sound impressive. I'm not saying that whatsoever. You got to be yourself. But what I'm saying is that as things grow and you want to get beyond just, because here we go. We don't want any good morning, beautiful text, and you good morning, beautiful texting me to death, right? The what you're doing text. Hey, big head. Okay, what else do you have to say,
Yes.
right? So you want to stay away from those one word answer type of questions. What would be great is what I just did with you, asking her, describe an experience for your ideal date.
Correct.
Tell me something that makes that, or tell me about a man that you admire, right? Because that's making her think, right? God is a thinking God. You want to ask questions that will make her think. You also want to avoid the war stories. Now, I know this is not popular, and I know this is something that a lot of people do. We get together, and I want to talk about all of my exes and how horrible they were.
Oh, Jesus, Lord have mercy. I went through that and seen that. Lord have mercy. Cut off.
Pick up my microphone. Here's the microphone. Are you listening? Are you listening? Brother.
That's a big turn off.
Tell us why. Tell us why that is a turn off.
There's no way that I can effectively get a chance to learn you and be with you if you point out your heart about what he did, why he did, he left me, and all these different things, and you don't know what I went through. And I'm scared to date you because you might do me the same way. No, take time to heal so you can enjoy the newness and build and be able to pour into each other in conversation. And the majority of it is not about what you've been through. I'm having a bad day today and I'm hurt today. Oh, I experienced that. I was like, wait a minute. Are you serious? Oh, this is a joke. Where the cameras at?
Are y'all listening, ladies? Are you listening? He's being honest.
I'm being honest. Because what would I look like doing it to a female, bringing all this stuff and reminiscing and having a breakdown, and they looking at me like, I thought you were interested in me, but you crying about that. Are you sure you're okay? Are you healed? The thing that's going to happen is she going to look at me and say, you must miss her, I want her back. And I had to tell somebody that before. I said, you either want them back or whatever. I don't know why you think I want them back. That's all. That's the majority of what you talk about. What you talk about the most is what's really on the inside of you.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, there's not a knockoff. It's just the truth, whether it's a male or a female. But coming from a male point of view, that's a turn off, and then I'm not interested. I'd rather just keep you as a friend versus going to anything further. So that's...
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna pass them. I should have passed the mic to you, brother.
Yes.
I should have gave you the mic. Here you go. Because so since God trusted you with the mic,
yes, that's right.
Absolutely, though. This is what I'm saying, though. One of the main things, and this is why I talked about this last week. This is why I brought it up at the beginning of this episode. Is because I am telling you, if you are not ready, right? Stop wasting your time and another person's time. Yes. It is okay to stay in the heal and deal zone. Yes. It's okay.
Heal and deal. I like that.
Heal and deal.
Yes.
And that's how you know you're ready. If you have healed and dealt with whatever you had going on, right? You have adequate closure. You know how to do some boundaries now, right? And you're not, like you just said, I was guilty of it. That's what I mean. Like, let's tell the truth.
Yes.
I was guilty of it because I was putting my heart on my sleeve from the very beginning, which is it shows predators, right?
Yep.
If it's a good man, you're going to run him away. But what about when it's a predator?
Yep.
What about when it's somebody who studies weak, vulnerable people?
Yes.
And know that you have not healed or dealt with what you had going on. Now all you're doing is attracting and bringing another demon into your life. You don't have time for that.
Well, anybody got time.
Stay in the heal and deal zone until you know you're ready. Most of us never even ask ourselves, are we ready for another level of love? Most of the time, we never even consider if we're ready. We don't look at the state that we're in our immediate life. We're back there or we're further ahead. I want somebody for down the road, or I want somebody to make up for what was. But we don't look at, will this person fit into my life right now?
It's okay to be by yourself and take time to heal and to understand that you're not ready for it. Don't hold that particular person that you were interested in or they were interested in you. Don't hold them up while you're trying to go through the heal. You don't want to talk to anybody else. That's dangerous. I've experienced through that, and that was selfishness. And I definitely want to do it again. I'm again. So my thing is enjoy whatever you're going through, get through it. And take time to get the proper healing because you will be more benefiting and better to yourself. It'll show in the hour. Anybody can get on Facebook and post and put their happy, put their makeup on, and put all that. Then behind closed doors, you sit there crying about he over there with her, he left me for her, and all that kind of stuff. And you there talking, man, look at her. You the man talking about what he got going on. You can fake that stuff to Facebook, and then on the reality, you really not together. Sometimes you gotta get away from social media. Sometimes you gotta just stay to yourself. Don't entertain no man. Don't entertain no woman. Just like, you know what? Lay low.
Absolutely.
What's wrong with you? Why you don't want to talk? I'm working on me. I'm not in the phase and a place to do that. And nothing mean I'm a bad person. I am healing. So take time to heal. Life will be better. So when he does come, or she does come, you're ready to receive and you're ready to entertain and to be entertained. So
absolutely. I say this all the time to my clients, and this is why I'm so thankful for people like you in my life, because you continue to remind me that this type of platform is necessary, because there are so many Christian singles sitting at home right now with their Bible and their cat. And you think just because you're not dating and you've been celibate for 59 years, you think that means that you have healed, and it means that, or you think it means that you have dealt with your stuff. Nope. Healing and dealing means I'm doing something about it, doing the work. I'm seeking out help. I'm getting a coach like Coach El Renee. I'm going to get a therapist. I'm going to better learn things that I need to do so that I won't go through some of these same mistakes again. But like you said, it's a selfishness is what it is. You want someone to take your broken mess, and I was guilty of it. I talk about this in my book. For such a long time, I believed that because he was broken and I was broken, I thought that we were going to come together and make one whole life. Nope. That was not right. That was incorrect. Two broken people cannot come together and make a whole life. You're going to come together, two broken people, and have one broken mess. It's going to be a mess. You have to heal and deal. You don't know what it means to do that, then that tells you right there, then you're not ready. And so many people are afraid to be alone in the healing and dealing time. Yep, right? Some of us are serial daters. You know, you're dating the same person in a different body, and you just keep transferring the same foolishness and energy, and you don't take time to be alone. You are afraid to be alone. Yep. And it's okay to say that as well. But I'm so glad that you're bringing credible, feedback to these women that understand on dates. Why are you still talking about Billy Bob? Billy Bob ain't talking about you.
Yeah, but he did.
He's thinking about you.
And you having a breakdown, and he getting married, and then you mad at you on his wedding day. You up there crying and worried about it because he get married again. Like, leave it alone. Like, so what? He cheated with her and then married her. Thank God that you ain't no more. And you ain't the first and you ain't the last. He getting support. She getting support and help. I ain't getting support and help. Like, really? Yeah. Like,
there are so many women.
Got to do better.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, ladies, you deserve better. You got to get to that place in your life to the point where you deserve better. You get through that and realize, I don't want to attract that anymore. I want to get that out of my mind, out of my spirit. So when I see that person, is, hey, how you doing? And I'm on to the next. And they can feel that, you know what? All you put me through, I'm not impacted by it anymore. I'm not going to, because a man can tell when what he has done to you is affecting you by the way you're acting and who you talking to, because it's going to get back to them because you're sharing so much and they know that you're hurt. It's feeding and fueling them, and they're looking at you like, oh, she still want me, or she still ain't over this. That's a dangerous thing. Go to a secret place. Take time to get the right help. As I've been saying on my radio show, get the right help. You can't go to everybody. You can't tell everybody all these same stories because people going to look at you and say, okay, what's really going wrong? Not telling you to take time to heal, but be careful how much are you sharing because it's going to make you look like you want the person back. It's one
Absolutely.
skill to get help and to effectively do this. I just want to put that plug out there.
No, brother, when I say you preaching tonight, we can just do the May the Lord watch in between me and thee. I mean, this is what we need to hear. And this is the thing. When you get to the heal and deal zone, you you are going to have to prepare yourself for the truth, the
Yeah.
ugly truth, the reality
The
of
reality.
what you have allowed to happen. That
Yeah.
is not a place that you need to invite, and it's unfair to bring a person into your truth at the moment. If your truth is that you're still broken, you're still shattered, and you're still traumatized and abused, from what you've gone through. And I love what he said. Y'all, we deserve better.
You don't
We
deserve better.
deserve better. God is not asking us to be Jesus Christ Jr., put those crosses up. He's already done the work. That's what we celebrated last week, right? We celebrated all of that. We don't have to continue to be martyrs when it comes to love and relationships. You heard it directly from a male perspective. So you cannot say we're bashing and all
Nope.
of that. This is real, relevant, not only feedback, but it's going to be helpful. I believe that this is going to impact so many people because we need to hear the truth. After all, he's been lying to you, you lying to yourself. Somebody got to tell the truth of this equation. Somebody's got to tell the truth. And so here's the thing. The word of God even says that, listen, you're going to stand fast in liberty, not standing fast in lies. You're going to stand fast in liberty. But it's okay to admit that I don't have the liberty yet. It's all right. It's okay. Give yourself permission to be honest and say, I'm not there yet. Get off these dating sites. Stop wasting somebody else's time when you know that you are not looking for what this person wants and what they deserve. That's all he's saying. And I think that and let me put this in here, even understanding this, these initial conversations, those first dates, those are the chances only for you to get to know whether or not you are suitable enough for me to get to know better. That's it.
Yeah.
Just because we enjoy each other's company and we have a good time on dates doesn't necessarily mean we have to be in a relationship. It doesn't mean that at all. But when you're eager and exhausted and you still out here trying to heal and deal in the middle of your exhaustion and eagerness, it just makes a mess. It just makes a mess. And I pray that you begin to look for that godly counsel, that godly wisdom. This is your godly counsel. This is your godly wisdom. Because first of all, he says, I come that I might give you life. And you are not living, especially in this now in time. You're not living when you're still in the past about what somebody did to you.
Mm-mm.
And you're stuck. That's what coaches and therapy helps you understand. How am I stuck? And how do I become unstuck? But what we want to do is piece together. We want to customize relationships. It doesn't work that way. There is no perfect one. There's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect man. There's no perfect female. We hear it, but we're still in our minds pursuing some type of perfection that's not there. And that's why I said it's so important for you to begin to think about the conversations that you're going to have with future females so that you understand that, right? And it's not that you don't understand it, but even a way, and we'll talk about this on the next time that we talk, I want to really talk about how important it is to begin to frame what your desires are from the very beginning. That way, a woman can never say, well, he was acting, we'll talk about this a little later about boyfriend antics. We'll get into that a little deeper. But I don't believe in boyfriend antics. I don't believe in girlfriend antics where there is an assumption, an unspoken assumption that there's something more between us when we have not spoken it. If neither of us have said we want to go forward and we both agree on moving there, then your assumption is this is someone who stays in this friend zone until we have a mutual agreement.
I agree.
Right? Mutual. And a lot of times, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I just really, we can go on and on. This has been a great conversation tonight. I'm so thankful for yet another time. We are here again with the radio man himself, Mr. Marcel McManus. He is my very first bachelor on Single and Saved TV, hopefully many, many more to come. We're having our Love Chronicles talking where we're doing a live coaching session. This is exactly what my coaching sessions are like, where we talk about, real relevant conversation, but we also talk about it from your perspective. And then my job is to try to help you see it from another perspective, to give you more ammunition to be better at meeting people. That's all we're trying to do, one person at a time. All right, listen, we're going to get on off of here. I'm going to pray. I hope I even got enough time to pray tonight, y'all. But listen, I want you guys to stay tuned because we have many, many things coming ahead. I'm so excited about what God is getting ready to do here on Single and Saved TV. And if you want to stay connected to us, this is what you can do. I hope you can see it. Let me take my banner off. And I'm so thankful. Marcel, how can we reach out to you, brother?
Yes, you can follow me on my website. That's mmradioshow.com. Also on social media, Marcel McManus Sr. and my radio show page, Marcel McManus Radio Show. And y'all can follow me there. Thank y'all so much. And I enjoyed everybody. And thank y'all for watching on tonight.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much as well. You can always connect with us. Continue to support us here on the show. There is my website, my email address. And if you want to be a blessing, you want to donate to Single and Save TV, there is my Cash App. This is your girl, Coach L. Renee, where we continue every week at a time. We're going to bring you real, relevant, and responsible solutions. All right. Grace and peace to each of you all. And good night.